Hi, we're Team 101, and we had a great time putting together our storyboard generator for this year's GovHack 2018 called My Local Story. We took a different angle on joining disparate data sets. Rather than using a fine-tuned AI, we've chosen to use school-aged kids. We've gamified the process of joining data from various data sources, linked together by dimensions into a pleasant story of their surrounds, a story they can share with their peers, a story backed by data relevant to their community and Australia overall, and a story they can also share with friends and families. So, let's get started on My Local Story. Today we're going to follow along with 11-year-old Matilda, who lives in the seaside city of Kingston, where her story begins. She goes to Parkdale Primary School and has already added this as a first frame in her comic book story. Matilda loves to play ball sports, and her first suggestions happens to be just that. Some sports and recreation facilities data set has allowed us to find a soccer field that's nearby. Matilda chooses to add this to her story.
At the park, I saw some rubbish, so I picked it up and I put it in the bin.
This brings in the data from the LCA Curbside Recycling Calculator, helping Matilda understand the positive environmental impact of her actions. Let's click the plus add button and see what's next in Matilda's story. Something she's not interested, she could reject. Some graffiti which is linked to the crime stats, again she chooses to reject. Here's an older gentleman feeding ducks. She chooses to take that on. This is linked to the aged care dataset, where she discovers that 1 in 3 older people were born in non-English speaking country. The next panel is linked to the 2016 Census Community Profiles, which cover a wide range of diverse ethnic characteristics. In this case, she chooses to learn more. This brings up a visualization of demographic data across the Greater Melbourne area of languages spoken in various areas. In the final panel, Matilda is given the opportunity to learn about the social and emotional well-beings of Indigenous Australians. At this point in time, she chooses to finish her story and share it with her peers and family. Well done, Matilda, for using over 12 data sets that were joined together by none other than yourself. So, what's the data story? Well, there are a lot of open data sources, but in many cases they're hard to link meaningfully. In our case, we took some of the data munging to find plausible dimensions in the data to allow linking. Things like geolocation of school locations and sports complexes was simple. An extension was gender across things like crime stats, teacher-student data and job markets. We took some deep dives into linking location to languages spoken from the data, such as the community profiles data. This created a framework for likely segues that a creator of a storybook may take from one dataset to the next. The rest is left up to the user to choose their own adventure and bring together their own data-backed story.